It's very much a you gotta like learn about it to appreciate it. What's the fucking word? The phrase?
Be conditioned to it. I don't know.
It's got to get beat into you.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Arsenic Culture. I am Matt.
I'm Jason.
And we are coming back off a 2-week hiatus.
Bender? Oh, hiatus. Okay.
It's probably a combination of both, honestly. And we feel really bad. We do take this seriously. No, we had a good time. We don't feel that bad. Seriously, man, I enjoy doing this and I love putting these episodes out, but we just could not get it together last week.
No, our schedules wouldn't work.
But what were you doing?
Man, I was everywhere, but the main reason I had to actually maybe rearrange a work day to go on a Four Roses barrel pick.
I hope nobody from work watches this.
Yeah, I hope not either. Well, I told him I had an appointment that day. I didn't say what kind of appointment, but
that's technically not a lie.
It wasn't an appointment. Yeah. We went to Four Roses, which is it's one of my top 2 favorite distilleries. So that and Wild Turkey is probably my favorite. Yeah. But second time I've been, the first time we went that you couldn't go to, remember a long time ago.
Right, that I sent you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
This one happened again. Our friend Anthony, who's been on the podcast before, he couldn't go, so I got his spot.
Nice. Okay.
But it's actually the same store. So we went with Liquor Box the first time.
Really? Okay, but it's different people.
Different owners. Yeah. Very, very good dudes. Can't remember their names, but they don't drink. So they brought like 6 of us, I think, or 5 of us.
Doesn't that seem fucking ironic?
It does, but I mean, it's a business, right? I mean, you're making money on it. Yeah. Don't get high on your own supply, right?
So they got, or on anybody's supply.
That too.
So they have a liquor store and they do barrel picks, but they have to bring in basically an outside panel of consultants, right? Yep. Because they have no idea if it's good or not.
I'd rather them do that than just like have the distillery send you something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there were some good palates there. So it was Kenny, who's not been on our show, but he's on Anthony's show, and then Mossick. There was a few other guys, Jordan. Okay. Can't remember the other 2 guys' names. But we had a good time, picked a great barrel. Nice. My favorite barrel picking experience. That was an all-day event.
Really?
Then we went to Willett. I got to eat an egg salad sandwich, which was the best egg salad sandwich I've ever had.
It smelled like farts?
Probably. And then they had escargot, which I thought I'd never eat.
You've never had escargot?
Nope.
I love it.
It's actually pretty good.
So we had a restaurant in town, Metropole. Do you remember Metropole?
I remember the name.
It turned into the Village Idiot. Yep. Now it's like a fucking gas station or something. Not a gas station, but like a convenience store. Okay. Yeah, have you ever seen there? It's like a convenience store now. You can buy lottery scratch tickets.
I've not been down there forever.
But Metropole is a French restaurant, and they served escargot, and it was so good.
This tasted like, I never thought I'd try it, but a couple of the guys wanted to try it. I'm like, I'll try it. The consistency was almost like a mushroom, like a cap mushroom. Yeah. And it's meaty. A little chewier maybe. Chewier. And then they had a lot of bacon underneath it. Like it was.
Was it like just like in a pool of like butter and garlic?
No. It's actually just well seasoned, like I'd say salt and pepper. And then the bacon flavor was coming through. Yeah. A little strip of cheese on it over top orzo. Okay. That was green orzo, like it was crawling on the grass.
You said egg salad. Reminded me of the big bottle share we did for our beer group. And we were at your house.
Aaron's house, wasn't we? I think it was Aaron's.
It might have been Aaron's house. I think it was your house, and I forget who it was, but it was like, I don't know, 40 dudes in one house, and we're all just drinking like tons of beer. And somebody ripped like the nastiest fart, and the whole entire floor just smelled like shit. And Yeti comes upstairs. He comes up, and he's like, "Oh my God, who made egg salad? I'm so hungry." We're like, we're gonna fucking get out of his ass because that was.
You don't want this egg salad.
You don't want this egg salad. Oh, that was like the best egg salad moment ever.
So, man, what have you been up to?
I have been at the Bourbon and Beyond over in Louisville, which I have not been to that one. Neither. I go to Louder Than Life every year, and it's actually this weekend. And I guess I'm not going because there's a freaking hurricane coming through Kentucky. So. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I went to Bourbon Beyond for a couple days.
I saw the drone headshot, like 60,000 people on, I think, Saturday night or something. Yeah. That was wild.
Yeah, their total attendance was like 210, 220,000. Wow. But Louder Than Life always like beats it by like a quarter.
Bigger? Okay. I didn't know.
Every single year. So I don't know how it's going to play out this year.
So who were the highlights you saw?
So I have really become a big fan of Teddy Swims.
I don't know that.
Yeah,
is it a band or a guy?
No, it's a guy. He's got a band. He's got one song out. I know you've heard it. It's like it plays on the radio probably every 15 minutes. Google it real quick, Teddy Swims, and you see what song it is. But that's the only song I've ever heard of his. And I was like, it's good. It kind of sounds like it was written by like a board of directors.
It's like Post Malone.
Yeah. I have I understand that this is the decade of white trash guys with face tattoos.
Yeah.
Like him and like Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
And Post Malone and Teddy Swims. Yeah, it's the same way.
I would like to hang out with Jelly Roll and Post Malone, either one. They seem like pretty nice guys.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think they're all sober now, right? Maybe not.
Oh, no.
Post Malone.
I think it's like at California sober at most, which is like high as hell
like
on weed,
weed,
and then I'm drinking too. But
yeah.
I think Jelly Roll does a little more.
Really? I thought he became sober, like.
Well, maybe ish.
But no alcohol.
Yeah, I don't know.
Everything else.
I don't know. Maybe it is alcohol, but I know he gets IVs a lot, like just trying to rehydrate and stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, then that would speak to the other one.
He's getting something. I'd hang with him.
Yeah, but Teddy Swims, he's got that one song that was really good. And then he played like a whole set, and he's phenomenal. Like he's amazing. He's really good. So I'm actually like a huge fan of his now. I wasn't super big into a lot of the other bands. Red Clay Strays was pretty good. That's Drew's like favorite band. That's his jam.
Their vocalist, I don't know. It's like Elvis meets I don't know what. It's
he's
awesome.
got that big old like pompadour and stuff. Yeah, they were pretty good. It was hot, and it was actually very frustrating how hot it was. And I actually wanted to try more bourbon, but we really didn't get around. And a lot of the
heat and bourbon don't mix together.
Yeah, no, it was a recipe for disaster. Yeah. So we ended up drinking a lot of beer. You know how much beer is over there?
How much?
Well, we were in the VIP area.
Okay.
It was $18
for like a tall boy.
It was a 20 ounce, but still. It's like, Jesus.
That's more than an NFL game or a baseball game.
It keeps creeping up every year. You could get a 16 ounce in like the regular area for like $16.
Okay. It's still
really expensive.
Yep. We're going to concert tomorrow up. I think I'm going to guess and say beer's probably $8 to $12.
I would have happily paid that all day.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
For a 16 ounce can.
Yeah. Well, speaking of beer, what if I told you that the most famous style of beer is the style that most people hate?
It's Modelo.
I know. Modelo is actually my favorite beer of all time.
This one's for you, Jade.
Yeah, put a little lime in that one. No, I am talking about a beer style called Lambic.
Okay,
and,
I've heard of it.
Specifically, we're discussing a brewery called Cantillon right here. We've had a few of these on, but we've never actually delved into this. And there is so much history and there's so much pedigree behind this. But Lambic is a spontaneous. I know you know all this shit, but just for everybody listening, yeah, I'm looking at you.
I'm gonna act like I don't know what you're talking about.
You will learn. You'll get learned
Lambic.
Something here.
How do you spell that?
Yeah,
it's
KXQ.
Yeah, I got you.
Did
Teddy Swims drink Lambic on stage?
Fuck no. Yeah, he'd probably spray it, like shake it and spray it like it's
Fago, like
the
ICP.
Yeah. But it started around like the 13th or 14th century in Belgium. Did you know it's a regionally protected term? Lambic is like
I don't think
champagne.
I do know that because remember when Black Project used to be out in Denver, a brewery. Yeah. They were the ones that got like that. They got the spontaneous fermented. Yeah, it's like a weird term. They had to get approval from them. It's kind of weird. Big ordeal.
There's like you can call it like traditional.
That's right. That's right. You can't call it Lambic. That's it. Method gueuze, method gueuze, something like that. Yeah.
And American Wild, as people say, but you can't call it Lambic unless it comes from Belgium, specifically an area called Pajottenland, which is spelled Pajotten.
I'm actually really glad you didn't ask me to pronounce that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I actually had, so if you look at my notes, I go online and I get Google chick to pronounce it. I write it down phonetically.
I would have called that Pajottenland.
Pajottenland. That's how it's spelled. Yeah, it's Pajottenland. Mm-hmm. But it's open fermentation, which means they take all the wort, like the unfermented beer, they put it in a big, basically tub, and they just leave it open. But what makes it Lambic is all that microflora and the bacteria and the yeast that's in the air in Belgium. It gives it it's just like a special kind of inoculation.
I remember hearing stories, maybe it's one of our friends or somebody was telling us about it. I might have read online a while back, but somebody went over there and toured the brewery, like Cantillon, and they saw cobwebs up and spiders are like, why in the hell don't you clean this? And they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
don't touch anything. You can't touch it. Yeah, don't touch anything.
They're almost superstitious about it. It's like very traditional. Everything harkens back to how they did it back in like the 13th century. It's absolutely insane.
From my experience, their cobwebs and the Lambic is very good. It's very good.
Yeah, that's the terroir. It's cobwebs. Yeah, I was like, I'm getting some like silk on that. Yeah. But there's different kind of genres of lambic. You get into gueuze, which is when they blend it, which is very popular. We have people like who's the goat?
Boca Rider.
Boca Rider. That he does nothing but blend. Does he? He's not producing yet.
He does not. I don't think he produces his own Roth. Sovereigns, I think is his name. Yeah. It's actually called. I think it's changed the name now to Boca, Bokke.
Right.
But there was some. I guess some obscure brewery came after him. Like, I mean, come on, it's his name, you know. But anyway,
well, he exclusively blends. He doesn't produce his own lambic, which is
a
really
lot of
popular.
them do. Yeah. And it's actually like esteemed there. Like you can be just a blender.
They're
you know, in the U.S., it's like
on.
what the hell? You got to brew your own. You know?
Exactly. So, and then they got fruited variants like Creek and Framboise and stuff like that. Lambics are traditionally barrel aged for a extensive period of time, years at least. And they develop with age, unlike most beers where you got to drink them fresh. That's what they advertise anyway. The hops that they put in it are also aged to reduce the bitterness, but I guess historically they thought it had some sort of disinfectant properties, but now it's just for flavor. So the hops roll too, which again is kind of the antithesis of a lot of beer, like IPAs and stuff, that you want fresh hops. This is the exact opposite, but that adds to the nuance of it.
Especially with the hazies now. I mean, people, you want the fresh as you can get, right?
Yeah. Now they just extract the oil from the hops. It doesn't even, it's like, how fresh can you get it? Well, we literally just took the oil out so it doesn't age at all.
Then they like disintegrate them and like turn in that lupulin, the powder, you know what I'm talking about? Just like hop powder, which is super concentrated too.
Yeah. Is that cryo? Is that considered cryo?
I guess it is. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. There are very few other types of open fermentables. Farmhouse ales, which are one of them, which are pretty like traditional like French beer. There's tons of variations of lambic, like American Wild Ales, again, but they're emulating this beer that's been around for centuries.
100%.
And also chicha. You know what that is?
No idea.
You ever seen like National Geographic where like a bunch of people in South America are like chewing up corn and then they spit it into a bowl?
I have.
That's chicha.
Okay, they eat that?
No.
Okay.
So you put like you put corn or grain or something in your mouth, something that has the starch, and then you chew it up. The enzymes in the spit act to pull out those sugars, and then you just spit the shit out in a bowl, and you let it open ferment, and then you drink it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we got to do an episode on
we could do that. We could do that.
Dude, we can make our own.
We could.
I'll chew it up and spit it out, and you can drink mine, and then you can chew it up, and then you can drink yours.
That sounds really... I think I'm missing something there. I'm missing something. I don't know.
No, it's math. It's math. It adds up. This one that we have here from Cantillon is a pretty special bottle. Is it Moeder? Lambic Fontainas. Mm-hmm. This was brewed in 2019 for the Cantillon Quintessence, which is a celebration I don't know much about. I'm assuming you do.
A little. I mean, essentially, it's Cantillon's Beer Fest, right? Yeah. I mean, they host them every 2 years. So I think they're alternating this with Zwanzi Day now. So back and forth. But Quintessence is... You know, do you know what the definition of that word is? Like what it means? So the purest form of something.
Okay.
So I guess it's just their purest form. Now, in the past, at some of their beer fests, they've invited like Hill Farmstead over. There's been some big American breweries, but I can't remember all of them. But I know Hill Farmstead's been there. I don't think Side Project's been there. I bet Black Project, when they were around, probably got invited too. But big festival. A lot of people go for that one.
Yeah.
So.
Well, historically, this one ended up being released in 2022. Is that when you got yours?
What do you mean?
This beer. It was brewed in 2019.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, the story behind it.
Yeah, it was supposed to be for COVID, and then COVID ended up killing it.
COVID screwed it all.
Yeah. This is not going to catch.
Yeah, so this one, I read up a little bit on it too. So this was actually... What was it? It was only available an exclusive wine and Cantillon pairing tasting at the Grand Place. So like a restaurant, I guess.
Okay.
One of our friends, Paul, went over there and he actually went to the event. So he got...
Quintessence?
And he went to this event too, the tasting.
Gotcha.
So he got a couple bottles of this one. They have different labels, the same beer, but it's like an art kind of exhibit. I guess it was a fundraiser too for something.
Okay.
They're usually really good about that with Cantillon. You remember... Magic Lambic?
Oh, yeah.
So Magic Lambic was very highly sought after. Like, it was hard to get for a couple years there. It was for, the first time they did it was for a theater over there that was like really struggling financially.
Isn't the logo of it, it's like something like theatrical, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's got like that top hat and the coat and tails, I believe, on the back of it. But it's like I think it's like a live action theater. It's not like a movie theater kind of thing.
Right.
But they was struggling over there, and they did 100% of the proceeds of that. I think every time they release it, it goes to...
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, keeping that culture.
I just opened this. Smell like cork.
No carb.
No carb, which is traditional. It's traditionally there still. If they're carbonated, that's kind of like an addition that they put in there. But yeah, this style of beer has been around for hundreds of years. One of the oldest beer styles, enjoyed by thousands of people everywhere, but anybody that you know and that I know that asks if you let them try Lambic, they're like, that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, first time.
Yeah, it's very much a you gotta like learn about it to appreciate it. What's the fucking word, the phrase where you have to like try something a bunch of times to
be conditioned to it? I don't know.
It's got to get beat into you.
Yeah. Well, that's how it was when I first started getting
acquired taste. It's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
Why was that so hard to come up with?
I don't know. But you all beating into me. I remember the first times I was having it with Aaron at shares at his house, beer shares. It's like you, me, Kyler, Bradford, a bunch of our friends.
Sure.
Drink this. I'm like, I don't like that. Yeah, you do. Just keep drinking this. Keep drinking this.
You remember, I'm pouring this now, and it's pouring. It's a little bubbly, but it's not very.
Well, some of it, some Lambic, most Lambic, I would say would be, I'd say 70-30. I'd say 70s carb, 30s not. Yeah. They do some that are intentionally not carb, right? Like the but there are some really good ones there.
Yeah. I remember we did a Lambic share over at Aaron's at one time, and Nolan was there. Our good buddy Nolan, Michael Nolan, that was I
see your glass. I'll pour. Oh yeah, pour sequel here.
Nolan was didn't like sours, and he ended up no, she won't.
He carried around Tums with him essentially the whole time.
Oh yeah, we went through like 6 or 7 or 8 bottles, and after that, he was curled up in the corner on the floor, just rocking back and forth in the fetal position. It was hilarious.
So I don't want to brag, but one of my nicknames from Bill, I think, gave it to me is Lambic Hands.
Yeah.
So usually you pour
this out of
because
you walked around with 2 bottles chugging out of
probably.
Each one?
But usually you pour this out of a basket like traditionally over there, but I'm so steady-handed.
Yeah. And then why do you tell everybody why you pour it out of a basket traditionally?
Yeah, so you don't want to stir up all the sediments on the bottom. Mm-hmm. And if you notice as you're pouring the bottle out, I think you might be able to see it on the camera. Yeah. But I leave about probably, I don't know, what is that, about 4 ounces probably?
If that, yeah.
3. So you leave that in there, it's all the sediment. The more you drink that, probably more heartburn, and then you're going to have a little trip to the toilet the next day.
Yeah, and I definitely don't need more heartburn. So
no.
So with this beer, with these types of beers, typically you're going to get some sourness, some what they call barnyard funk.
Yeah.
Just because this is fermented with bacteria and yeast from the open air that's just literally floating around and just drop them down. Flies and moths and butterflies and everything nice.
Puppies, probably.
Yeah, acid rain.
What do you know what the blend of this one is? Like what makes it up? Did you already say that one? I can't remember.
No, I do know that it's 2, 3, and 4-year-old lambics. I saw the actual specific barrels. That seemed way too specific, so I didn't.
I honestly couldn't find those, but it's 2, 3, and 4 lambic. Okay.
Yeah, it was like barrel number 230 T34.
Yeah, I ain't in all that.
Nobody gonna care about that.
So if you've never had lambic and you're used to, if you go to a brewery now, so if you go to a side project or, side project does a little bit different, but if you go to a brewery that does hazy IPAs, their sours are not this kind of sour. They're either overly fruited, almost like seltzers, or they're more tart, like super tart, like kind of hurt your teeth tart.
Yeah, get you right in the back, side of the neck, under your jaw, and you're like...
For sure. Yeah. This one knows a little more juicy, a little more refined. It should not pucker you up that bad, in my opinion.
Some of them do, but...
Some of them, but not many. Yeah. If they do, they're usually off.
This is much more approachable. It's much more delicate. It is a more refined beverage. But they say it's layered. And meaning as you kind of sip on it slowly, you can get multiple facets of different elements over time. And that's kind of the beauty of it. And that's why it's been so popular for hundreds of years, is because people blend it and they can pull out more nuance out of it, and you appreciate it more like you would any sort of delicate beverage you would enjoy. It's the same as sipping really like a fine wine or something.
For sure. That's what I was going to say. It's essentially an aged wine. With this one, the first couple sips here, I feel like maybe I'm getting like a rum barrel. I don't know that. You think so? I've not looked it up, but I've get a little...
Yeah. Now, I don't know if this was actually... I don't think they used a spirit barrel for this, do you?
I'm not sure. I really don't know. So one thing about when you look online about things like this, it's hard to find the information. So there is a website, it's lambic.info, I believe, and I think they're still updating that. Beers changed a lot in the last 15 years, but that's probably your go-to resource. If you go to the Cantillon webpage, everything's in whatever the hell English they I don't know.
Dutch?
Sure. So shockingly, I can't read Dutch.
Big Latin, maybe?
Shockingly, I can't read that. But Google Translate still it's like this used barrel oak wood stuff. I'm like, I don't know, man. But anyway, love the history there. But it is hard to look it up online sometimes.
What I love about this, and I think what adds a lot to the character of it is that this was just made with grain and time, and the beautiful mountain air up in Pajottenland. But I'm getting like notes of like apple and like some like grape in there, some sort of like white grape, maybe something like a young kind of grape, and it's that kind of fruit that you pull out of it. It's amazing that they can do that with basically just grain.
Crazy. And then you look at like Drie Fonteinen. They have a typical, for me, they have a green apple note shining through traditionally, and it's not a overly sour tart one, but it's so good. It's like fresh.
Like not even as sour as like a Granny Smith, but like right under that.
It makes your mouth water a little bit. Like it's that kind of juicy, bringing that fruit.
I love it. Yeah, you take one sip in this, and it's just like it's like their logo with that guy sitting back in the chair, like all drunk and stuff. Like I want to be that guy. Just sit around and drink this all day. Well,
we're not far from it.
Yeah, I know. All day with this, it might be a little much. Have you ever been to Belgium? I haven't either.
I've been to Breathitt County.
Yeah. Is there like a
same thing?
Is there like a Belgium Lind in?
Yeah, for sure.
Is it Pajottenland in Breathitt County?
Yeah, we got Buckhorn Lake.
Yeah, what's the Eiffel Tower? What's the Eiffel Tower equivalent?
That'd be one of the cell phone towers up there.
The big monument says Pajottenland on it.
For sure.
Fucking awesome. I think this is fantastic. I think more people need to appreciate and try a good lambic. There's some shit ones out there.
There are some shit ones out there.
But they're kind of hard to get now, honestly.
Well, the one thing
you
we
can't
do,
get them on the shelves.
Well, some of them you can. So Cantillon still can't, but Drie you can. So
yes, that is true. Yeah,
they've ramped up production a ton.
Drie Fonteinen the logo is 3F. If you guys see it in the store, it's kind of expensive. You can get a small bottle for like $20,
$15, $20, depending on what it is. There's different variants. The hard part about them, though, is their labels are like a little circle at the bottom. It'll have like an initial, and on the back, it's all this writing. So it's hard to distinguish what you're actually getting.
Right.
The best way to do it is take the title of it and just put it into internet Google search.
Yeah. What's Google?
Look at Untapped, and there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know what Google is actually.
They have all the information.
They do.
Yeah. Pretty soon AI will take care of all that for us.
So cost on this one. So the guy that picked it up for us, again, you couldn't just buy this bottle. You had to attend that event, plus you could buy bottles with it. So I'm going to ballpark it and say it was probably $80, $75, $80.
All day.
Very rare, very rare. I mean, even if you could get this on the shelf, it'd still probably be $60. Like if it was a basic lambic in the 750 size.
Right, yeah.
So $85, say $80, $85.
I'm totally in.
I'm good.
This is a celebratory beverage. And
for sure.
Something that'll keep. You just keep it in your basement or whatever.
Aged lambic's a different beast,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is a bottle I'd spend like $150 on. Yeah. Is there a secondary on this one?
Yeah. I mean, this one doesn't go for sale much because people that got this one are actually keeping it to drink.
Yeah.
So I would say today you're probably looking at 150, 130, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
There's not much secondary on the beer side, which is great, honestly.
Because then you can get stuff.
And then lambic beer secondary, like you have, if you know, you know. It's not one of those things everybody loves.
If you know, you know.
It's true.
Yeah. Let me tell you a little more background information on Cantillon.
I would love to know.
They were founded in 1900 in Brussels, Belgium.
All right.
So they are over 100 years old, 124 years old. And they've always been a big champion of lambic and the most traditional method of brewing, which is why everything is covered in cobwebs and spider webs when you go there, and dust. The logo that I just talked about was this guy that's like tipping a glass back in a chair. Looks
like he's sitting on his two legs of the chair, tipped back,
he's like leaning it back.
Almost,
looks like he's getting ready to fall over.
Yeah.
I saw some mention that guy could be a throwback to Richard Cantillon.
Okay.
And I looked up a picture of him, and it looks very much like this guy. Richard Cantillon was a French economist, like hundreds of years ago, but he doesn't have any actual relation to the Cantillon brewery, so I think that's just kind of reaching.
I've never heard that, though. I mean, that might be true.
It's kind of interesting to consider. Cantillon did not brew beer until 1938.
Okay.
38 years after they opened, they exclusively blended, just like Raff over at Bach. Because, again, that was a very esteemed thing to do, is just take other people's juice and then kind of blend it together to make it something that you think is exceptional.
Correct.
So, but I didn't know that. I thought that was interesting.
I knew they blended before. So did Drie. I mean, I think it's Boon, but Bone. I think is how you pronounce it. But I know that's a big producer there.
Yeah.
And then they had Giardine. I don't know how you pronounce it. But
the gueuze, yeah.
Yeah, it's shockingly, I'm not great at pronouncing those things from Eastern Kentucky. I mean, it's hard to, I know nobody believes it, but it's true.
Yeah, I'm going to start writing these words out like Pi Utenland for you to pronounce on your notes and stuff.
I need beer written out for me.
That's beer. They do have their own biannual holiday in addition to Quintessence called Zwan's Day, which I used to always call it Zwanzi, but apparently it's just Swans. I had to look up that pronunciation too. And that started in 2008. Zwans is roughly translates to joke or prank. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, but they went to every 2 years when they used to do it every year. But we went last year, and that's a blast.
Correct.
And they do that all around the world. Like different venues will actually host Zwan's Day, and then they'll give them the beer, and everybody does a big toast. And it's basically just, it's really selfish. It's a celebration for Cantillon, and it's started by Cantillon, but everybody loves it, and we have a good time.
But like we went to Holy Grail this year in Louisville, so they were one of the sites that were like blessed, by Cantillon to be able to host. It's not easy to get that, but
no, it's not.
They did have a lot of different goos on draft, and they had some in bottles. We had Dree, we had all kinds of different things too. Great experience, not just Cantillon. They had aged stuff, new stuff, plus as Zwan's pour.
There's one thing, we get caught up in the greatness of Cantillon and their place in Lambic production and the Lambic culture, but they kind of have this quasi-sordid history of misogyny. You look at the Rosé de Gambrinus label.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got, it's a hand-drawn, not hand-drawn, it's basically a painting of a naked chick straddling a guy's legs, sitting on it like she's giving him a lap dance. She's completely naked, he's wearing clothes. The guy is supposed to be King Gambrinus.
Okay, I didn't know that.
He's considered the king of beer. And they're drinking and they're drunk, and she's just giving him a lap dance. And for some reason, like, if that bottle's on a shelf and a little 6-year-old kid walks by, then he's going to see naked, drawn on boobies and be like, Mommy, that's where I get my milk from, But for some reason, that was never really been, I guess, contested or like.
No, I heard talks. I think they tried to change it at one point, but never
did.
They
did change it for a short period of time, and then they said, fuck it.
Yeah.
And they just let it go, which is kind of weird.
Founders should have done that with the damn breakfast stout. You remember talking about the little kid eating a cereal bowl? Yeah. They changed that.
Because it used to say Kentucky breakfast stout.
No, the breakfast stout. It's like
regular
Founders. Remember
stout,
the kid, like he's like in a cereal bowl, like a bib, I think, like eating it?
Yeah.
They made them change it.
Did they really?
They did.
I still got bottles
they got a lot of pressure.
So I didn't know they actually changed it.
Keep on at least.
I will. But Rosé de Gambrinus, their beer was featured in an issue of Playboy. I thought this was cool. In 1998 in March, there was a little excerpt, and it was talking about that label. I mean, it's Playboy. Back then, they had nudity, and they were talking about
the reason people got Playboy was just to read the articles.
Yeah, that's exactly why I was reading it. So, but they were talking about it, and then it gave a phone number so you could like call and order the beer. I thought that was the most random thing. Yeah, it's like, while you're reading our Playboy issue of March of 1998, if you want to order this beer, call this number. And it's like, I'll take a beer with a naked lady bottle on it.
You should look at that number now and see what the hell it
I
goes
did. That's
to.
the number right there.
Say, what do you call that
it's
shit?
800-481-4848. So somebody call it and tell me what it is now.
Read that back one more time.
800-481-4848.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So you call it. Somebody call it, and I want to know what that number is. Yeah, I don't even care, but it's gonna be like a sex line or something like
100%,
that.
100%.
Yeah. But on the terms of misogyny, you know what fufuna means?
I do.
Do you really?
I'm not saying no. I don't have any idea what it means.
No, it means pussy. In French. I had no clue.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, they're just like putting that on the bottle. So Fufun is a lambic. Is it a gueuze or it's a lambic?
No, it's a lambic.
Peach.
Yeah, for sure. It's there's a story behind that too of why. Like, it's got a moon in the picture. It's something with the cat. So it's actually. It is that word, but it's also like cat. Like, that's kind of what it means in that sense.
Yeah.
But it's tongue in cheek, I think, too, right? That's kind of how 100%, all their shit is.
Yeah. I thought that was hilarious. I learned that. I learned something. But Fufun is one of their great beers. Peach pussy.
It's very good.
You got anything else?
I don't, man. I'm excited to try this, and I'm taking my time. I'm not drinking it very fast, but glad to get to try this one. I mean, I would buy it retail if I could. I'd buy it secondary if I didn't have one. I mean, I would try it again. Worth it for me.
Yeah. For more Arsenic Culture, you can check us out on the socials at Arsenic Culture. And we'll see you on the next one.